welcome to another green marble crochet tutorial and another Granny Square Sunday green marble crochet tutorial. Thanks for coming. So for this tutorial, what I'm going to be making is just a really basic, very basic granny square. So just the bare bones of a granny square, just because I'm going to be using this for hopefully, well, for my next tutorial, which will hopefully be out on Wednesday, which is going to be the side paneling for the sweater that I'm making using the Lazy Girl Argyle squares that I did for my last Granny Square Sunday. So yeah, we're just going to be doing that, just making a basic square. Alright, yes, it's going to be very simple. Also, yeah, so there's a few things I should mention. If you haven't subscribed but you would like to subscribe to join me for some more tutorials, I would love to have you join me. A big thank you to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Also, thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. Yes. Also, if you need to get in contact with me very quickly for anything, if you need help with anything at all, look for me on Instagram. I'm the_green_marble. You can find me there, and yeah, I'll be able to help you hopefully with anything crochet wise that you need. Yes. Also, just quickly mention before I start the tutorial, if at any point during this tutorial I'm going too fast for you, there's a feature on YouTube where you can slow down the speed of the video. So yeah, I always just recommend that because sometimes people do say that I go a little bit fast, and so if you do that, it's really helpful. So anyway, before we get started, we're going to have a quick look at the tiny details on the label. So this is what we're working with. Yes. And here are the tiny relevant details. So that's what we've got. Now it's saying that I should use a 3 or a 3.5mm hook. So for this one, I'm just using the 3.5. That's what I usually use for these Granny Square Sundays. Yeah, alright, let's get started. Alright, here we are now, finding the end of our yarn. We're going to start by making a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, we put our crochet hook down, and then we grab the end like this and we wrap it around our fingers just like this and pull through the loop. And I usually try and make the tail end just there quite short. Well, I haven't really made it very short just there, but that's because I just crochet it in as I go, sort of wastes less yarn. Anyway, here we are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to adjust that knot to the hook like this, and then we're going to it's not very well adjusted. Hang on. There we go. And then pull that tight. So we've pulled that tight, just like this. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4. So chain stitches, yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop. So that's 3 chains. Now one more. Yarn over and pull through the loop. So there we go, 4 chains. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work our way back down to the beginning of that chain, and we're going to slip stitch into the first chain right there at the beginning. So if that changes there, we're going to insert our hook into the top part of that, just like that. Yarn over, pull through a loop, and then pull that loop through the final chain, just there, last chain. And then we've made a tiny chain circle. If you pull it apart, you can see the center just there. So we'll be working into that center. And what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to chain up 2, 1 and 2. And this chain of 2 is going to act as our first stitch. And we're going to be putting 11 double crochets into the center of the chain circle just there. So this chain 2 is sort of acts as the first of the 12 stitches that we'll be working with. So for a double crochet, it's yarn over. Pulling apart that chain circle, you see that the center is right there. That's where it should be. You insert your hook into the center of the chain circle, then yarn over, pull through a loop just like this, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that's a double crochet. So that's 1. Then we're going to do it again for 2. Where is that center? There it is. Yes. So another double crochet, and we're doing 11 double crochets into the center. So I'll meet you when we've done our 11 double crochets into the center just there, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Okay, see you soon. Okay, now here I am with those 11 double crochets into the center of that chain circle. So that's what that's going to look like, just there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2 from the beginning. So there's that chain of 2 just there, and there's that stitch above it. So we're just going to insert our hook through that stitch, just like that. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through the last loop. So we're slip stitching that to join the round. So that's round 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, so 1, 2, and again this chain of 2 is acting as our first stitch. So into the stitch right beneath that chain of 2, so that very first one just there, you're going to put a double crochet, so that'll act as stitch number 2 for that stitch, counting the chain of 2 as 1. Then moving on to the next stitch along, we're going to put 2 double crochets into the same stitch, so into the same stitch, 2 double crochets. Then into the next stitch along, we put another 2 double crochets into the same stitch, so 1 and 2. So we'll be doing that for every stitch around till you get to the end, and once you get to the end of this round, you'll end up with a stitch count of 24, including the chain of 2 from the beginning. So I'll meet back up with you once we've finished that, and we'll close up the round and we'll talk about moving on to round 3. Okay, see you soon. Okay, here we are at the end of round 2, and we've put in our 23 double crochets around, so there's 24 including the chain of 2, and we're going to once again slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 from the beginning, so to that stitch just there at the top, slip stitch to close the round, just like this. And there we go, that's round 2 finished. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to chain up 2 again, and moving on to round 3. The pattern for this round goes 2, 1, 2, 1. So 2 stitches into the first stitch, but including the chain of 2 for the stitch at the beginning just here. So then we're going to put a double crochet into the stitch right beneath that chain of 2, right next to it. So that's 2. Then into the next stitch along, we're going to put 1 stitch, 1 double crochet, and leave it just like that. Then moving on to the next stitch along, it's 2 double crochets into the same stitch, so 1 and 2. Then into the next stitch along, it's going to be 1 double crochet, 1. Then moving on, it's 2 into the 1 stitch, 1 and 2. Then moving on to the next stitch, it's 1 into the 1 stitch. So that's the pattern, 2, 1, 2, 1, till you get to the end of the round. I don't know, I think there's going to be, we're going to be having 36, I think it is, once you get to the end of this round. So yes, you should have a stitch count of, wait, 32 or 36, hang on a second. Okay, yes, so now we have a stitch count of 36 by the end of this round. So here I am just putting in that 36th stitch at the end, just there. So we finished the round. Now we're going to slip stitch once again into the top of that chain 2 from the beginning to close the round, just like that. So there we go, that's what that's going to look like. Okay, so now that we've finished up the circle portion of the square, we're going to turn this circle into a square. So to do that, what we do is we chain up 1, and we're counting that chain of 1 as our first stitch, but we're not increasing anymore until we get to the corners. So we're not going to be putting our first stitch into that stitch right beneath the chain of 1. We're going to be moving on to the next one along. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a half double crochet into the next 3 stitches along. So to do a half double crochet, it's yarn over, and then see, not that first stitch beneath the chain of 1, but the next one along. I'm going to go into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and that's a half double crochet. And so that's 1. Then moving on to the next stitch, we're going to do another one of those, that's 2. Then moving on to the next stitch, we're going to do another one, and that's 3. So there we go, 3 half double crochets. Now into the next stitch along, you're going to put a double crochet. So just 1 double crochet into that next stitch. Then moving on to the next stitch after that, we're going to put 3 double crochets. Where are we? Focus. 3 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets into that same stitch. Now into that same stitch, we're going to put a triple crochet. So to do a triple crochet, what we do is we yarn over once, yarn over twice, then we go into the stitch, so it's that same stitch that we put the 3 double crochets into. Go into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, then once again yarn over, pull through 2. So it's yarn over, pull through 3 times for a triple crochet. So we've done that. Now we're going to go into the next stitch and we're going to put 1 triple crochet into that next stitch along. So 1 triple crochet followed by 3 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1, 2 and 3. So there's our first corner. That's what that looks like. Now into the next stitch along, we're just going to put 1 double crochet. So you'll see on either side of the corner sections, there's a double crochet. Then after that double crochet just there, we're going to put 5 half double crochets into the next 5, or a half double crochet into the next 5 stitches along. So we'll do it together. So it's 1, then moving on 2, then moving on 3, 4, next one, and that's going to be 5. So each side is going to have 5 half double crochets with a double crochet on either end. So that we've done our 5 half double crochets. Into the next stitch along, we're going to put 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then we're going to complete our next corner. So we'll do it again together. It's 3 double crochets into the next stitch. So 1, 2 and 3, followed by a triple crochet into that same stitch. So 1 triple crochet, oh, it's a bit tight, followed by a triple crochet into the next stitch along. So 1 triple crochet, followed by 3 double crochets into that same stitch. 2 and 3. Then after we complete that corner section, we put a double crochet into the next stitch along, followed by the 5 half double crochets along. And after that 5 half double crochets along, you'll put your double crochet, then you'll complete your next corner section, and after that next corner section you'll put your double crochet followed by 5 half double crochets along, then a double crochet, and once we get to the last corner section, we're going to meet back up, we'll do it together, and we will finish up the square, yes, together. Alright, see you soon. Okay, now here I am at the last corner, and I've finished up half of the corner already, so we'll do the next half together. So it's a triple crochet into that next stitch, followed by 3 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1, 2 and 3, followed by a double crochet into the next stitch along. So it's 1 double crochet. Now because we started out at the beginning with the chain of 1 being a stitch, then there were 3 half double crochets along, so that makes up for 4 stitches. We're just going to be putting in our final, well, there's only 1 stitch left anyway, so our final half double crochet of the round square of the square. So 1 half double crochet, hang on, yep, is that right? Yep, 1 half double crochet just there, hang on. Something about that didn't look right. So yeah, that's how we're finishing it up. You've got your double crochet after that corner, half double crochet into the last stitch, making up the 5 of the first side. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to slip stitch into the top of that chain of 1 from the beginning to close the round, or square, to close the square. So yeah, just like that, slip stitching, top of the chain 1, just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to find our scissors, as we always do. We're going to cut that yarn just like that. Then what we're going to do is, straight from that slip stitch that we've done, we're going to chain 1 and then pull that chain through the stitch just like that. Pull tight, tie it off, and there is your very, very basic circle square. Your very, very, very basic granny square Sunday square. And so that's what we've got. That's what we're working with. I hope that's useful for you. You know, you could make some, you know, get a bunch of different colors, just make up a bunch of really plain squares and just make a lovely blanket, you know. That would be really nice. I think that would be cozy. And it's kind of still a bit chilly here, oddly, in the south of Spain. I mean, it won't be for much longer, but it is at the moment. And the thought of a lovely, cozy, multicolored granny square blanket, I don't know, it just sounds really nice. All right, yes, okay. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think would be nice to make out of just this plain granny square. Like I said, I'm using this for the Argyle sweater that I'm making for Wednesday. So yes, I will see you again for that tutorial. I hope you're well wherever you are, and yes, all right, see you soon. Thanks for watching.